No matter, no nothing.
Just a realm of consciousness, and there's no material existence beyond. Who knows? Who knows?
Hey, what if
Yeah,
it were
who
like
knows?
the Truman Show, and what limits us is circumstance, where you go as far as you can go, and there's something that keeps you from going any further, and so you just got to turn around and go back.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
That would be a trip.
I could believe that what like NASA and stuff does, and this is just me speculating. I have no idea. I am purely just talking out of my ass here. I could see NASA doing R&D for like making actual tech to try and get out that far, and I don't think they can do it. And I think they're never going to figure it out. And maybe they realize they're never going to figure it out. Maybe they realize that it's not that they can't figure it out; it's that they realize they can't. It's like the goldfish hitting the glass wall. He's never going beyond it, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Well, that would explain a lot, like them trying to go to space and then going, oh fuck, what are we going to do? We can't actually do what we were saying we were going to do. Let's just make some movies about it and tell them that we went and the Earth's a ball and maybe they discovered God. Who knows? Like, look how scared they were to swear on the Bible. That's saying something in itself.
Maybe to them there's justification. I don't know what their reasons are.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be evil. They could just be merry pranksters. They could be engaging in the noble lie. I mean, I'm far more ready to believe that it's, I don't want to call it a religion on their level, but it's an operational philosophy that they live by, that they have to maintain this, and it's for the good of humanity. That's what I think they believe.
Either for the good of humanity or the good of their family. Either or.
Either or. I mean,
we'll never know.
Like the Bible, like if you asked me, swear on the Bible to save your family, I would, because the Bible is not God. It's a book with paper in it.
Yeah, it's an idol. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you deify the Bible, and you won't swear by the Bible, then you're kind of deifying the Bible. You're idolizing it.
You're giving a book power instead of something else.
Right. So, like, to me, that's never been like an impressive claim when they say, well, he swore on the Bible. So they must be evil. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not evil, and I would do it to save my family. Or maybe if I really, 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 really believed in something, I might do it. Like if I thought, if I had been raised in this environment where I was living by this operational philosophy, and I was, 4 generations into it, I may truly, genuinely believe it. And I'm not being good or evil. It's just a way of life. Yeah. Which is what most of us in the West take that for granted, because we have so many options in life. But you go to the third world and nobody has options, and they are just born into what they have to do. And I think, in to some degree, the people at the top and the elite, they're isolated from, I would say, that mid-level where we are, where we have all of our options. And I don't think the elite have a lot of options. I think they're born into an operation, and it's just going.
You know what? That's a good point. They're born into something they can't get out of.
Yeah. So I don't like saying
look at it as they live a luxurious life, but maybe they live a life of to be damned.
Like, they do have like lavish luxury, but they also don't have a life choice.
Yeah, is that lavish luxury important if you're not happy? I'm sure that it doesn't mean a thing unless you're happy. So to enjoy it.
If I were sad, I'd at least want a yacht.
Yeah. It does. It makes life easier, but it doesn't make you happy.
Right. So, I
You
mean,
gotta be happy with yourself before you can enjoy your money.
Yeah. So I try not to engage in the idea that the what is it the primary idea that they're evil. Then they're just operating out of evil. Because, I mean, all you got to do is go down to your local gas station and stand there for 10 hours, and you're going to find people who are 10 times better than you, and they're very good people, and you're going to find people that are just as evil as anyone could be. And that's down at, our level, so to speak.
Yeah.
So good and evil transcends class. It transcends elite or proletariat. It's just something that exists.
But do you think the people at our level who are evil, do you think that's due to them actually being evil, or them having problems like drug problems and things like that? Or do you think they're inherently evil?
It depends on what we're calling evil.
Yeah, evil. Evil to me, someone who causes harm to other people intentionally and enjoys it.
Yeah, I would say like
sadistic.
Yeah, like a narcissist who relishes in their narcissism and doesn't seek help for it.
Yeah,
that would be someone I would say has an evil soul, and I've met those, and they're all right, they're out there, and they're not the elite. It's just
because you can get narcissists that know they have a problem, or you can get narcissists that don't know they have a problem as well.
Yeah.
So,
and they can justify the worst evil that they do because they're the center of their universe. But I mean, as far as the elite go, I would say that in the big game, they're playing. We are all playing for the same stakes. It's that the scale of their stakes is just way higher.
Say this, right? If these people are generationally born into it, do they actually know that they're doing something wrong? Or is that because if you're brought up like that, I know we have this. Well, most of us have, an inner voice and an automatic way to kind of know that we're doing right or wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know you don't know that they're doing wrong. You aren't anybody in any position to judge whether they're
correct
is right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right. We don't even see the inner workings of like how they make decisions. Like if there's it's
but
kind
they're
of like
making decisions that end up killing people.
That's obvious.
They know
that's
that.
Obvious. That's something
even
completely different.
Even that I have to caveat even that. Because what if you don't kill people and you just invite people and they kill themselves?
Are you the cause? You can, yeah.
You see, it's hard to say.
Really be the cause, because that person has a choice.
You don't know the inner working of the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, take the last 2 years. I'm not going to say the word. But take the last 2 years into account and think about how many people would willingly, like, let's say there's a future scenario where they're told to do something harmful to themselves. And you kind of realize that a lot of people would. And you almost feel this kind of, I don't know, sympathy with the elite and say, if I was left in charge of a machine that I didn't understand and I had to deal with these idiots, what decision would I make? If I had to deal with just millions of absolutely stupid people who were wrecking everything, consuming thoughtlessly, what decision would I end up making? And that's like that. I don't know what decision I would make. because I'm just not there.
Why would you force a decision necessarily?
Corrupt them all. I think when they talk about overpopulation, they leave out the part they're actually talking about. Yes, I think when they talk about overpopulation, they leave out the part that they are acting upon, which is overpopulation of stupidity. That's what they're trying to deal with, if anything.
That is, because even if you read their materials, they are not talking about overpopulation. They are talking about proliferation of the unintelligent masses.
But how can you consider somebody intelligent enough to keep when you're keeping information from, when you're not keeping people informed?
You know what I think? I think that voice inside of you tells you if there's a problem or not. And if that little voice inside of you tells you everything's fine, trust everything the authorities say, yeah, sure, go ahead, take that shot. If just a little test like that, and I think that says a lot. Because there's something broken in someone where they will just not.
Obviously, they want the proliferation of idiocracy. They want that standardized citizen that's just intelligent enough to, pull the levers and be a cog in the machine. But
those seem like the people they're going after.
I was going to say they're constantly playing a game of, balance, because they can't dumb people down too much, because eventually you get to a level of dumb that even they can't control. It's like, it's the Neanderthal, essentially. Doesn't even understand concepts of hierarchy and power and all this. It means nothing to him, just blindly goes wherever the instinct takes him,
Driven by primitive instinct.
So, they're constantly, they can't dumb down the population continually. And if it gets to that point, which it seems like it's getting to that point, they need to sort it in some way, which feels like is what they're up to right now. It's like they've hit their mark, but no, they kind of, they overflew their mark a bit in their mind. So they're attempting to maybe reel it back a bit. I don't know.
For all we know, the overshooting is intentional. For all we know, this is all just to create a social cataclysm, and that's literally the only thing. They're not actually trying to change humanity. They're not trying to turn boys into girls or whatever. What they're really trying to do is just create the conditions in which an organic revolution, spiritual revolution, will happen. And the higher thinkers are going to end up on top.
Aren't they already on top?
I don't know. But I mean, clearly the masses are fickle and wicked.
Oh yeah, that much is obvious.
So it's, it's hard to argue with the elite. I mean, I find it hard to argue with them, and I ask myself, what would I do in their position?
These people they're only ever offering a choice to the masses. It's up to the masses to decide whether they want to accept it or decline it.
And see, it's as simple as that. To me, it's really that simple. If you see someone who's still wearing, something on their face today, I don't think there's any hope for that person. There's something.
They're gone.
I would say most of the people who did it during the last 2 years, but specifically the ones that are still doing it. And I mean, to me, it's like what a perfect little test where you can decide who thinks and who doesn't.
It is an impressive sight seeing people still running around with them on.
Yeah.
I can only rationalize it as they're the most extreme, like, germophobic type people. They're still doing it.
But you know what? They weren't doing it before then.
No.
So.
But even take like this debate, for example, it's not the rulers that continue the globe deception. It's the masses that keep running with it.
It's the people, yeah.
Refuse to overcome their ego, refuse to sit down, have a serious discussion, and get real about things. They're the ones that keep running.
A thinking person can know they're being deceived. They can know there's something afoot. Something smells wrong, but they don't have to know what it is. They don't even have to know the truth. Because you don't need to replace what you believe. You may not even know what it is that you believe that is wrong. You just know something is wrong. And that's someone who's got that spark. And you can't stop that. You cannot stop that spark. That's going to turn into a fire eventually. And I don't know if people are born with it or not.
I don't recognize those boxers in the laundry. Those aren't mine.
Right.
You don't have to catch her with them. You just know those aren't your boxers.
Yeah.
They must have been accidentally in the machine when she pulled the laundry out of the dryer.
Oh, it might not even be that. It may just be an intuition. Intuitively, something's off. Right? And it's a lot the same. Like, people, when they tell you this and this and this, and they put their talking heads on TV, and you get that feeling like something isn't adding up. And I wish I knew more. But the truth is, like me now, I don't wish I knew more, because I don't care. I don't care that they're lying about everything, because they're going to keep doing it. And what does it profit me to stress about it? We're all going to the same place. So
I can't not come to the conclusion that they don't have any other option but to lie about everything. Because the average person is not capable enough to deal with the truth.
But isn't that kind of their fault too, not equipping them properly to deal with it? Dumbing down the education system to
certainly. Yeah, certainly they've had a hand, certainly.
So it's like this problem
but
that you created for yourself.
Talking about, like, that spark is either there in a person or it's not, you know.
They certainly own. They certainly own the. They certainly own the liquor store, but they're not the one making people alcoholics.
But Red Eye, did you say you think it can be taught?
Yeah, because that spark I think that he's describing is just critical thought, in my opinion. I'm
not sure it can be taught.
I think it's intuition. I don't think it's got anything to do with critical. I think you either have it or you don't.
Maybe it's just how your mind processes thought in general. I mean,
Well, let me ask you this.
Talking about something like intuition, like what he was describing, it's your experience. What usually drives that feeling is your experience with this person, and your interaction with them at this given time is not like on the same baseline. Like it's off base from that baseline to where you can have that perception, right?
So are they are you let me think about how to word this so I don't sound too new agey.
Is this to Red Eye or to someone else?
Anybody,
or to
I
everyone?
guess. Yeah, Red Eye probably a little bit too, because are your memories your experiences? Because memories and experiences, they're the same thing.
Well, they create. Sorry.
Go ahead.
They create behaviors and reactions to things.
I think your memories
not necessarily you.
I think your memories shape the formless version of you. Like, they help
Consciousness.
shape it.
So, what is your consciousness? Is that in you, inside of you, or outside of you?
Ooh.
I
don't know exactly what outside of me means.
It's like this. Your consciousness, what I would call your, I guess, spirit or soul, that thing that's inhabiting this, flesh sack we're all in, right? It's experiencing things, and all those things are stored in a physical brain as memories. But does that make all those things you? So if I said, I'm divorced, does that make, am I an ex-husband? Or am I just me?
Well, you're just you.
Just me.
Yeah. Can you link your subconscious to your consciousness? Or is that just a physical thing as well?
I'm not completely sure. I can illustrate it this way. So you're born, and once you start remembering things, it's like standing under a cliff, and you look up. First memory is a drop of water. Yeah. Another memory, it's another drop of water, and eventually you're under a waterfall, right?
Yeah.
Now, but you aren't the waterfall.
No.
But most of us lose ourselves in the waterfall, and so we're constantly thinking that all these memories make us, when we could really just let all of our past and memories go and not be affected by them.
Yeah, I learned to do that a couple of years ago. A few years ago, it was life changing.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, I wonder, like, and that's why I think about these people who never wake up, because are they experiencing things the same way? Or is it that they're just unable to step outside of the waterfall and see it for what it is, that it's just an accumulation of experiences, and you're experiencing them while you're in a flesh body? But those things aren't you, and they don't have to be you.
Yeah, you're right. And I also think people have a lot of issues with, from a past experience, they have a bad experience, so they don't go into something because they don't want to have that experience again. So a lot of people live life in fear instead of saying, okay, well, this is a new situation. This may now not happen again. Depends how I go into it, and depends how it turns out. So
it's definitely a good way.
It's a fear basis.
It's definitely a good way to deal with trauma, because that experience is not. It doesn't have to be you.
Correct. Yeah.
So now, it's easier said than done, but
I would say that
I struggle with it all the time. But yeah, I know that I can do it.
Right.
So as long as I know that I can do it, then if I find myself back in a problematic situation, I start stressing out a little bit. Then I go, oh, wait a minute, yeah, I can control this, and then I just go boom, 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 and it all works out.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
What I would say is, depending on the outcome of the situation and how that outcome was not agreeable to your standards, you shape ideas on how you can go about shaping that or forming that outlook into to the outlook or the outcome that you want. Sorry, I said that kind of weird. But you look into the behaviors or the things that are within your control to control that outcome. And that is where you shape yourself, I would argue, and your habits and mannerisms and so on and so forth.
A lot of times that level of self-discipline goes hand in hand with being able to let go of the past, because a lot of people, because they fail, they can't look at their failure. They can't look at it and they can't get past it to either try again or change.
Yeah, they're embarrassed by it, where it should be a learning experience instead.
Right, and instead, they become that memory. When the reality is there is no past and there is no future. The only time we live is in the moment that we're all experiencing at the same time. Time is just a concept. So the reality is there is no past. Those are literally just logged moments and experiences, right?
Right.
So it's not like those things have to.
You are getting new agey, aren't you?
Only slightly, because I mean, it's just a concept that, if we're divine creatures living in flesh bodies, then time is just something recreated here to analyze this physical world, because it's not like you can go back in time, because there is no time.
Yeah, well, it's a good psychological experiment as well. So if you can try, just even do it for a day. Just concentrate on where you are right now, what you're doing right now, and realize when you start thinking about things in the past or the future that it's just a thought, and go back to where you are now. And as you practice it, you get better and better at it. And you start concentrating on things that are now, and your anxiety levels and your stress levels go down a hell of a lot.
Oh yeah, they do.
If you acknowledge that you're worrying about things that you've got no control over, i.e. things in the past which have already happened, or things in the future that you don't know are going to happen, then you start going, oh well, why am I worrying about shit I can't control? I'll just worry about what choices I'm making right now.
It's interesting that you characterize it like that, because I always considered, or would consider, anxiety, I would consider it 1 second too late syndrome or 1 second too soon syndrome, where you feel like you can't get caught up. You just don't have enough time, like you're always behind, or you feel like you can't slow down. Like if you slow down, you're going to die. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of characterize anxiety.
So if you're getting anxious, if you're getting anxious about time, then you say, okay, well, what's a priority right now? And what can wait till tomorrow, or what can wait for a couple of hours? Then you just tick them off one by one. And you go, okay, I can't get on top of things. That's when you start stressing out. I can't do this. I can't do that. Just go, okay, grab something, do it.
Yeah.
And then finish it. Put it aside.
Control what you can
do the
in
next
the moment.
thing.
Yeah.
And if something's going to be late, ring up and tell them it's going to be late, and don't worry about it. Like, you can't do anything about it, Like,
what are they going to do? Kill you?
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say I have anxiety, but I'm a bit of a procrastinator. And so all of a sudden, when you have a plate full of shit that you got to get done, all of a sudden it does become a little bit overwhelming. But then when every time you do knock one of those things off your list, you just say, all right, time to get started. What am I going to do? Every time you get one of those little chores done, whatever it may be, it's the amount of relief. All of a sudden, you look at your list of things to do, and you're like, "Oh, maybe this isn't going to be so bad." Do the next one. Well
said. Yeah.
Obviously, going fully blank slate would leave you completely idiotic, because you would have no more analog. So, I think we do have more of an ability to ruminate on what we should do, not what's going to happen, and not think about the things that are actually like reaching out and trying to hold us. So there are things that have happened, and it's like they're behind us, reaching out, trying to grab us and hold us back. Like they're like those memories are like trying to keep you in those memories, right? I mean, this wasn't specifically what I was talking about earlier, but it does, it's related. But I'm not sure that everybody has that ability to analyze their own ego and consider maybe I could be wrong, and maybe they should start thinking. I don't know if you can start thinking in a way that's kind of outside of yourself so that you can objectively see, or so that you can see things in an objective way and compartmentalize the past and compartmentalize the anxiety of the future and just understand what you should do right now.
About that meme, like, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Not everybody is self-aware.
Right. Right.
It takes,
yeah.
It takes, I think, maturity, which it's like around middle age, I would say, probably most people, when they achieve it, fully, like, actually achieve it. But I think you're right. I think not everybody ever gets it.
But you can't fully get it if you're alive.
I think it also comes from some type of trauma as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a grade of trauma, but you start to self-analyze yourself when you've been through some type of difficult time in life, and that's I think that's all. I don't know for everyone, but that's when it was for me. I started looking at my choices and looking at things and going, oh, okay, that's when I started going, okay, well, this ego thing's really getting in the way. What am I doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong here? Oh, I did make a mistake there. Oh, shit, I can do that better next time.
Well, it's that...
I know that came with a life change.
It's that ability to look at yourself, remove your emotions from it, and just look at yourself and say, am I wrong?
Yeah.
Am I maybe not as intelligent as I thought I was? Have I been doing things wrong? And then you can say, I'm going to forget how I've ever done anything, and I'm going to look at this fresh with new eyes. Because really, if you're trying to change things, like solve a problem, but you're basing it on the mistakes of the past, that's kind of the paradigm you're working in. I'm trying not to make those mistakes. When the reality is, maybe you just need to look at something in a completely new light.
I agree. Wow, this got deep, didn't it?
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Like conversations.
That's the shit that draws people in. Yeah, but then they come in being imbeciles, and then the other imbeciles have to pile in, and then you lose. You lose it.
It's deep at all. I think it's pretty basic.
Yeah,
pretty standardized conversation amongst all people.
It's deep for these. It's
people
deep for
call
these
it deep because they're scared about hearing these ideas and thinking about them. You know,
it may be typical conversation for people who are already inside the temple, but you know, most people haven't even made it to the porch.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but it is scary to realize that when you start looking at your mistakes and things like that you're going to find out that there are some things about your personality or the choices you've made that you don't really like. And it's kind of a scary thing to think about, that you might find something that you don't like about yourself.
it's the thing we fear the most, more than anything, is the loss of identity, because that's like literal death. Because when your ego dies, it's like you as a person are dying. So that's why people, they hold on to those mistakes. They hold on to they'll hold on to their past, and they won't change. They'll keep making the same mistakes over and over, or they're not open to any kind of ability to be wrong. And I think something really powerful is when you can look at yourself and say, I'm wrong. And I was stupid. And the way I thought about that was wrong.
Most often you don't realize that until after the situation. It's in hindsight that you can make those realizations. That's why it keeps happening over and over and over again for people. You know, they grow slowly, one little step at a time. But if they're doing a lot of shit wrong, you know, they're burning a lot of bridges. They're having problems with, you know, their girlfriends, their wives, their moms, their dads, their you know, their family, whatever. And it's never anybody else's fault, right? You're like, oh, they did, you know. But when you can realize, wait a minute, you look inwardly and you say, why did this happen for the second or third time? You know, like if you're a fast learner, you figure it out the first time. And when you get criticism, you listen instead of shutting them out. So somebody will say, you're an asshole. You did this. Well, like, you know, instead of going, well, you're a bitch and you did this, you know, you say, you at least, you might say that, you know, you might get triggered and say that, but separate, think about it. Why did she say that? You know, oh, damn. You know, like that's how we, like, I don't know. People are just so self-centered and so egotistical and so willfully ignorant. They don't take the signs. They don't take like they don't take the lessons that life is giving them, because that's how we fail. And when we fail, that's when we learn. And that's why I think when you guys are talking about, you know, like this, when we said with being self-aware, it usually takes most people quite a while to get there, if they're going to get there. But it's through those like struggles. They don't have to be big struggles. A big struggle could maybe teach you a big lesson, but it's taking those cues throughout life and growing with it, learning those lessons.
Well, you know, that's funny because I've always said that maybe a deception is required. Maybe it's part of like our experience. It's part of our existence. I mean, what would our experience be? What would our existence be like if we never got deceived? If we knew everything?
But I mean, there is no good without evil, as they might say, right? Like, I mean, you wouldn't have anything to judge it against. And we somehow we're kind of programmed to forget the good things and focus on the bad things, probably like a survival technique or something like that for the brain. But yeah,
or maybe that's a bit of,
again, it's like I was saying though, you learn from your failures, you learn from your mistakes. That's where you make progress.
Or maybe we're programmed with that tendency towards dark thoughts to give us something to overcome. Because what's better? Yeah. What's better than just getting through something and just cruising through it? But when you overcome something, it's so much more satisfying. There's so much more relief. There's so much more joy.
Yeah, think of it like a video game where, you know, you beat that final boss and it took 400 tries. You know, like, damn, it was the hardest game I've ever played in my life. But like that rush, that feeling, that satisfaction, that hill you got over, that mountain you got over, you know, like, yeah, that's it.
Well, that's why I like Dark Souls games.
That's funny. I played Demon Souls, and that's when for hardcore RPGs, like, yeah, Demon Souls. It's a more hardcore version of Dark Souls, dude. I didn't get very far in it, man.
Did you hold on, Lou? Did you play any of the other ones?
No, just Demon.
Okay, let me tell you something. Demon Souls is easy mode. Demon Souls is the easiest game. Yeah.
No, I heard it was the other way around. It was
I have all the games. I have beat all of them multiple times. Demon Souls is the easiest one.
That's really the opposite of what I understood. But then the Elder Scrolls games too, though, like you know, Skyrim, like daunting tasks. I freaking platinumed that shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these. I'm good with taking on, even though it's like I pretend like I hate it, but taking on what seem like overwhelming tasks and just chugging away at them, like chipping away.
I love a daunting task so long as I know I'm in it for a reward. Because every daunting task that I've ever had is something that I took on myself, and it was me taking a risk knowing that there was reward on the other end of it.
That reward is self-mastery and growth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if someone's trying to like master business or wealth or activism,
Right.
that becomes the self-mastery.
What a great parallel, though.
Huh?
Sorry. I'll let you finish before I say it.
Oh, like that. Them mastering that is them mastering themselves, because that's the thing they put their mind to pursue. And self-discipline is like putting your ego into check. It's being able to compartmentalize.
Yeah, I mean, instead of saying mastering business, just life, mastering, like you can think, you don't have to think that you live in a video game to say that you can think of it kind of like that. Like you want to master this thing.
It doesn't bother me when people say simulation or anything, because that's not a new idea. That's a very old idea. Descartes said we could be brains sitting in vats. I mean, the whole idea is not new. So, I mean, people have been trying to understand why we do the things we do. What are our experiences? Is our ego made up of experiences, or did the ego have to exist first? The mind had to exist before it got any experiences, right?
We're critical about that, like, comparing it to a video game. Well, what came first, the video game or life? Like the game is modeled after life, not the other way around.
Right. Video game's an analog. It's just an analog to compare it to. But like when I was doing Bloodborne, specifically, it was started in Dark Souls 2. I would stop. If I was having trouble, I would stop, and I wouldn't play for like a day. And then when I went back, instantly was able to master it. Because I calmed down and stopped letting the game play me.
Those games are, it's, at least, like I said, with my experience with Demon Souls, I forget what I got to, because that was before the
Well, I say Demon Souls is easy because if you know all the tricks, you can run through that like it's nothing.
Sure, once you've done it, been there, done that, you can get better and better at it and whatever else. But
it's funny because every boss has a gimmick.
It's just such a hard, for people who don't know. Like, I thought the difference was, see, like with what's the, it's not Elder Scrolls, what's not fucking, anyway, Demon Souls, what's the other version of it?
Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and Bloodborne.
Yeah, like with those games, you have like respawn points, right? Like you do save progress.
Yeah.
See, with Demon Souls, you didn't. With Demon Souls, every time you died, you had to start again from the beginning, fresh.
Oh no, that's the same thing. You do, but what it is all the stuff on you. You keep your armor, you keep all your stuff.
Yeah,
you
didn't keep anything. You didn't keep anything.
And
you had
any
to start over.
Any doors you opened stayed open.
Yeah, we didn't have that either. It was literally starting the game over every time you got hit, because every hit
you
was a kill.
You were playing the permadeath.
There was the only mode.
That's not the Demon Souls I remember.
The game I played, there was one mode, and it was super hardcore. So, like, if you died, you got hit once by anything, you were dead.
Did you play it on the PS? Is there might be a new mode on? Is that on the PS5?
It was the PS3, but it was the American version. There was the Japanese version for years beforehand, and then I think it was on PS3 that I played it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dying in the game is part of the mechanic. Like you can't progress in the game without dying.
Yeah, not in Demon Souls. No, not the one I played. Like literally, if you died, you started the game over. Like 100% started over.
Okay, that's not. Are you playing a glitched version? Because like I just in case I was crazy, I went and checked, and yeah, you keep all your stuff when you die in Demon Souls. Let me see if there's a hardcore mode.
I guess it's possible I chose like a really hard mode to play it on at that time because I was into hardcore, like trying to do everything on hardcore, get the biggest trophies. I suppose it's possible, but I don't remember. I mean, with that game, no, I would have gone fuck that and taken an easier mode if it was available.
Yeah, because you die and you go into ghost mode. You're a ghost. You're like in spirit form.
Yeah, no, but and then you would have to like fight a demon to get back to life, and if you died, if you died in that realm, that's what it was. Yeah, so like you could fight your way out basically and keep your shit, but if you lost to that guy, you started over.
Yeah.
Every time I went in there, because it was you would go into if you die, all the other people who are dead, that's what it is. Like they were all just better at the game than me. Like they played a lot more. And dude, you'd last for 3 seconds. You would be like, oh shit, I'm in a dark room, and all of a sudden, blood, and then you're just fucking dead. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
In Demon Souls, I would intentionally die to change the world tendency, so that I would get more experience and better items.
I read up. That was a thing too. I got so frustrated with that. I really didn't give it much of a chance, honestly. Like I said, I didn't get very far in it. Dude, that was just too fucked up.
Yeah, it rewarded strategic failure. It really did teach you interesting lessons in the game. All the Souls games do, I think. That's why they're my favorite games.
Yeah, so that was the thing, I guess. Maybe you did have a chance to keep your armor. I just never did. I just got killed every fucking time and was like,
every time you got killed, you got mad and reset it. Yeah, when you die, you come back in spirit form and you can go but everything respawns, like all the enemies, everything. You have to go back through all the enemies again. So yeah, life is a Souls game.
Got a new used vehicle today, and I got to use it perfectly. It's got all-wheel drive, Acura MDX. Friggin' thing works great in the snow.
Hey Lou, it's negative 41 degrees wind chill over here.
Yeah, dude, we got some crazy shit right now too.
Where are you guys sitting at?
showing -2 feels like -25. We got 21 mile an hour winds, but it's supposed to pick up to 55 mile an hour gusts or something like that.
Yeah, we got that crazy mess over here too.
You in Minnesota?
I'm in Wisconsin, don't you know?
No, I'm talking Miggy.
He's in Ohio or Iowa.
Iowa. Yep. Only real men are from Wisconsin, though. That's all I can say. Them guys are running.
Dude, when it comes to northern Minnesota and North Dakota, dude, those guys are fucking dude. Wisconsin's no joke, but dude, Minnesota and North Dakota, like in the northern parts, holy shit, dude. Do they get some extreme temperatures? Like, in a lot more of it.
I think about people talking about Antarctica and what's going on outside right now. I'm like, yeah, you can keep Antarctica, man. You can keep it. I don't even want to know. Like
That's
Hollywood.
What we need to do. We need to get people that are like Minnesota natives and just.
You're onto something, man.
Just throw them out there in Antarctica.
They'd know what to do.
The thing in or not Antarctica, but like with Alaska, people will go, "Oh my God, you're from Alaska!" Most people in Alaska are right along the coastline, and it's actually kind of temperate almost. It warms them up. It's closer to water temperature, unfrozen water. 32 degrees, so it helps to warm the land there. Yeah, it's those people who are in the remote areas out there, where it gets crazy. But if you're dealing with those North Dakota temperatures that they get during the middle of winter, you're already dealing with just as wicked of cold. It doesn't really get much colder than that.
What are the alleged temperatures over there in Antarctica? 70 below? Something like
that? Yeah, that's probably about right. But I mean, in Wisconsin, a few years back, we had legit -35, without the wind chill. That was no wind chill figured out. Legit 35 below where I'm at, near Milwaukee. You went further, just a 30 minutes north, and they were at -50 real temperature, no wind chill included. So what's another 20 degrees? I mean, it really doesn't make that much. Dude, once you get to 0, anything below that, at 0, you can die out there at 0 degrees. Yep. if anything below that, it's you just don't have very long. It doesn't change it that much. It's just super fucking cold. Cold is cold.
Yeah, my walk to the from the car to where I'm at in here at the cafeteria where I'm at right now is about maybe a 4-minute walk, and it's painful. It's painful. Any skin exposed, it's freaking painful, and it's not fun either. For somebody to think, yeah, it's just a little cold, it's not. It hurts. Let me tell you.
Minus 60 degrees centigrade is Antarctic winters.
But so you don't really have to say centigrade versus Fahrenheit too much when you get to those super cold temperatures. They even out at around 35 degrees negative. Centigrade and Fahrenheit are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So, you don't even have to worry about that. Yeah, we're just talking about frigid ass cold. -60 Fahrenheit and -60 Celsius are pretty much the same temperature.
Okay.
-20 wind chill and negative, 40 feels the same to me. It's still
we'll just call it bloody cold.
Yeah.
It will definitely make you think twice about anybody trying to consider going to Antarctica or to the Arctic even.
Well, the thing is people do live in places that are almost as cold as Antarctica. all year round. It's not that much of a difference, actually. If it gets to 60 Celsius, negative 60 Celsius, like, what's the temperature looking like late January and early to mid February in, say, North Dakota, northern Minnesota, you're going to have negative 50 degrees. Like, in fact, right now, they're already hitting like negative 50 degrees on some nights. I'm pretty sure of it. That's not much of a difference. It's like a 10-degree difference than what they say Antarctica is at.
Yeah, my break's over. I'm gonna head back, but yeah, I think you're right, Lou. I'm gonna catch you guys in a minute.
Don't freeze.
Yep.
I don't know how you guys deal with that type of cold. Do you have to stay inside most of the time, Lou, or what?
Well, you don't like chill out on the porch while talking on Discord, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's exactly how you chill.
Yeah.
Put your beers outside on the porch.
I remember it got so cold one winter, our heater was unable to keep up, and we actually had to stay in the basement because
Really?
it was actually warmer in the basement. Yeah, the snow creates like an insulation, so we had to stay in the basement. It was crazy that winter. I want to say it was like 92 or 93 or something like that. Like negative 72 wind chill or some shit. I don't know. It was crazy.
See, the thing with wind chill is, I'm still unmuted. The thing with wind chill is, it only counts if you're in the wind. So, like, if you can block the wind somehow, you're dealing with the regular temperature. Like, you can't say, like, it's 71 below. No, that doesn't really count either. Like, you have to talk real temperature, and then if you want to add effect, then you throw the wind chill on, too. But every idiot knows, like, I'm going to try to stay out of the fucking wind if I'm out in that.
You'd hope they'd know that. I mean, we get like our winters. They're pretty mild, you know. Like, we might get, you know, at max we'll get 0 overnight in the winter, but not during the day. It'll go back up to, you know, around 10 degrees.
Yeah, no, and zero is warm. That's like the temperature water starts to freeze at. Like, that's
yeah.
Zero.
We whinge and complain, but
in fact, what a better way to put that would be, that's the temperature water becomes liquid again.
Yeah. Depends what side you're looking at it from. Yeah. So I heard you saying the other day that, or was it yesterday, that you guys shut up for the winter. So I know you work in construction too, yeah? So you got to shut down for like 2-3 months or what?
Well, we've done it when I was younger. We used to try to work through the winter, and